All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Coleman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. I have my absolute top-notch latest guest in front of me, Siobhan Carr, the natural herbalist, most certainly, and she's going to tell us all the likes about the benefits and as of food being medicine. Siobhan, say hello to the listeners.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having me, Coleman. I'm delighted to be here. So yeah, let's nerd out about plants.
Yes, and I tell you now, we're after saying prayers to whoever is up there in the sky for signal continuing the way it has, because we're on WhatsApp there doing a video call, and we have just said that Zoom is the future. Quality.
Let's hope.
Too right. Right, Siobhan, I suppose I would love you to expand on what you currently do, where you're based, and we can get started from there.
Cool. Well, I am a naturopath and a herbalist, and I run a business called the Nerdy Naturopath. That's what I'm known as online. You can find me on Instagram and all that good stuff as the Nerdy Naturopath, because I'm a bit of a nerd and also a naturopath. And I see clients. I have a clinic here. I live at the moment in East Clare, and I have a clinic that I run mostly online now. I moved down from Dublin just over a year ago. To get out of the city and escape when working online became more feasible. And so I see clients online, and I'm really passionate about education. So I love doing these chats. So I really appreciate you asking me to be on this, because it's really, I think the thing I'm most passionate about is just sharing the wisdom of these plants with wider audiences. So I run some online courses. I have some free classes that you can do if you're interested in learning more about herbs. I've just launched one that's about the magical plants of Ireland. So lots of lovely plants like dandelions and nettles and everything that's coming back to us now at this time of year. So that's a free class. And then I have a 6-week paid class program as well called Herbs for Health. So I love sharing that wisdom with as many people as I can, because I genuinely believe that the world would be a better place if people were more connected to plants. That's me.
I'm so delighted you're after mentioning and touching on the likes of dandelions and nettles. Literally, I'm such a firm believer. I even wrote about it in the likes of the book that I have, The Power of Organic Fitness. Like, tell the listeners and the viewers of the likes of this show the power of the dandelion first. We'll start off with.
Well, dandelion is just an incredible all-round herb. I use it a lot in my clinic. So regardless of what we're working on with a client, whatever it is, like I work a lot with women's hormonal issues and PMS and period pain, but a lot of digestive things and other chronic illnesses, loads of things. But always the digestion needs to be addressed and the channels of elimination. So dandelion is an amazing herb for those channels of elimination. So the root of the dandelions are really wonderful for the liver. And the leaves and also the flowers are really, really amazing for the kidneys. So together you've got this whole plant extract where it's helping to make those things work better, So the dandelion root is really bitter. The leaves are bitter too. They're going to help increase the digestive enzymes and help increase the secretions from our gallbladder and our liver, and that's going to help our digestion. And then that in turn is going to help with cleansing and detoxing everything from our bodies. And then the leaves are going to help with any kind of fluid retention. They're going to help with flushing things out through the kidneys. So any kind of extra support that's needed in that area, dandelion does kind of a whole job for it. Dandelion root also has a lot of this thing called inulin in it, which is a prebiotic. So it's really good for... I love your responses.
I fucking love
it. Great for the microbiome. So...
Oh, for God's sake. Gut health, so important. By God. I'm so glad you mentioned this. I already know we're going to be like best friends after this podcast.
Amazing. Yeah, so that's dandelion. I use it so often. It's so gentle. It's really great for kids too. There was a study that came out, like plenty of studies that never made it to the media, about how it can be used in treating COVID. And yeah, just incredible things. So it supports the immune system by helping to cleanse the body and through those organs of elimination. So and by supporting the digestion and the microbiome. So many different things. But that's our dandelion. I really feel like, they just grow everywhere and we all need them in our diet. And so often we have this sort of thing that we see where herbs grow where people need to take them. These wild plants pop up all over the place, and no matter how many awful herbicides you throw on them, they're still going to grow and be like, we will survive, because they're just so needed.
And we must stress that point, Siobhan. They're 100% free. They're in everybody's Tom, Dick, and Harry's garden, front, back, side. And when you literally realize that the benefits of all these different things for antioxidants, for fiber, that improve your immune system, they also improve your mood. You literally pick the leaves, pop it in a stir fry. And are there any other ways that you get clients to currently use it, or do you make teas out of it? I often put it in hot water.
Yeah, make it into a tea. Like I always make my teas in this sort of, what's it called? French press. So you just get your dandelion leaves, chop them up a bit and put them in there. Some flowers as well, be lovely. The flowers are edible too. I love sprinkling the flowers on top of like any dish. And they're just, gorgeous. So, and it's also, the dandelion flower isn't a flower, which I find really interesting, like a daisy as well. They're called something else called an inflorescence, which is just such a beautiful word to know.
Oh my goodness. I tell you, I've studied horticulture, but I haven't come across that. Say that again.
In an inflorescence. So if you look really closely at a dandelion or a daisy, every single one of the petals is technically a flower. So it will have the kind of the stamen and the leaves. It'll all be, you'll see individual little pieces sticking out of it. They're their little reproductive parts. And then the leaves, the petals are actually a flower. And if you look at the very top of it, there's tiny little indentations, and that's actually their 5 petals that are fused together. So an inflorescence.
Amazing. Oh my God, I absolutely love that. I can't wait to literally have a closer look at the next one of those I come across.
You can actually get really nerdy about it and get one of, it's called a jeweler's loop. And you can get them in it. You can buy them online, but you can get them in a jeweler's or in lots of different places. And it's what jewelers use to inspect diamonds. But I use it to inspect plants, and you can see up close all about them. It's really cool.
I love it. Right. So next thing I want, I suppose, you to mention and have expand on the point of nettles. I love them firstly for growing my own veg. I use them as a likes of a nitrogen boost. Again, there's something that literally grow in so many different people's gardens, and using what you have to your full benefit. Magnesium, iron, vitamin C. But expand on the point of nettles and their benefits for anybody.
Yeah, I actually couldn't run my clinic without nettles. I couldn't personally live without nettles. They're like with dandelion, there are other herbs that you can substitute. Like if I ran out of dandelion root, there's other ones like berberis or, gentian, milk thistle. Like there's various ones that I could substitute in for the dandelion root, but nettle really stands on its own as a herb. It has so many actions that are not really comparable to other herbs. So you'd probably need to make a formula of 6 different herbs if you didn't have nettle. So it just does so much. So where to start? Nettle I use predominantly in my clinic because it's just the women that I work with as a sort of menstrual tonic. It's a brilliant herb for any kind of depletion. So whether that's when women are bleeding every month and losing minerals that way, it helps to restore that mineral balance. Really, really high in minerals, particularly iron. It also helps the body to absorb more iron. So that's one way. I think drinking it as a tea, the 3-4 days of that, the start of your period is really wonderful. It's also an amazing herb to have during pregnancy and that postpartum phase and for breastfeeding. So it helps to increase breast milk as well. And so also if someone's been sick and they're dealing with sort of post-viral fatigue, or they're just a bit depleted because they've been sick a lot. So those are times when you could use nettle to support that, just that general vitality and bringing in those extra nutrients. Of course, you can eat it. You can make nettle pesto and nettle soup, and nettle porridge was one of our ancient ancestors' foods, which isn't so trendy as the nettle pesto or the nettle cordials and stuff that you can kind of get nowadays. But
I'm going to try the nettle porridge. Yeah,
I've tried it. I mean, why not? Get the greens in where you can, And so on top of that, nettle's an amazing antihistamine. It's really, really brilliant for allergies, for hay fever, seasonal allergies, but also for cat and dog allergies, allergic rhinitis. It helps the body to dispel excess uric acid. So it's really great for any kind of rheumatic pain, for arthritis. It's, just so many things. I could talk about nettle all day. But there's also you can drink it, of course. You can make nettle tea. You can buy it as a tincture in the health food shops, if you don't like drinking the tea. But making fresh nettle tea is just so delicious. It's so amazing. I love it so much. And of course, when they're not fresh and suitable, you can get dried nettle. But you can also use it topically, which is kind of a very old herbal use. It's, you can just intentionally sting yourself with nettles. So when you get stung with nettles, right? Everyone has probably been stung with nettles before, right? Especially for you if you're, out with the plants all the time. So you get this kind of red, itchy rash, but it's that kind of rash is exactly what nettle treats. So if you've any kind of skin issues that are coming out in these sort of rashes, that's what nettle treats. So taking it internally, the skin is another one that I didn't mention of what nettle's so great for. But when you sting yourself with nettles, you're also getting a lot of the benefits from it, particularly for allergies and for any kind of like tendonitis or muscle pain or arthritis, things like that. So what it does is it brings healthy inflammation to the area, and then it helps the body to heal and increases the blood flow, and also brings in a lot of the other nettle properties. So I had a really, really interesting time. I studied a few years ago in UCD doing this postgraduate business course, and it was Herb Week. We have a Herb Week at the start of May every year, and I decided to do a herb walk for my class. And one of the guys came. He was this fit rugby player, really like man's man. And I was telling him about this, and he had an issue with tendonitis in his ankle. And I was like, well, I'm gonna maybe, there was just talking about the nettles, and he was like, oh, you give it a try, like can I sting myself with nettles and try? And I was like, grand. So I give him a kind of a lashing of the nettle on his leg, and he squealed like a squeal that came out of him. But he came into college the next day, and his pain was gone, and he was back on the training field the next day from just getting stung with nettles. So the tendonitis was completely gone. So it's really impressive results from the old nettles. And they call it urtification is the word, because nettle in Latin is called urtica. So.
Right, and it's, I suppose, just for people who would be a million miles away from this, listening or watching this podcast, and kind of go, what? Think of it as, we'll call it, food-based medicine, and most certainly as vaccinations are often given in small amounts, the dose of the virus or the cold or the flu, to most certainly try to improve your immune system. It's that, I suppose, similar idea. Am I right in saying that, Siobhan?
I wouldn't compare them to, I wouldn't really compare it to vaccines, but it's kind of like, so herbal medicines definitely can be taken in small doses and can have a lot of benefit. Something like nettle you can really take in really high doses. But with the stinging of the nettle, it's a very specific action where it's bringing about this inflammation in an area to increase blood flow and increase those kind of the healing parts of healing cells and things to come to an area and help to get things moving again. So yeah, it's not, sometimes you might need a lot of it. Like it's not just a small dose. Like sometimes if someone's got really bad arthritis in their knees, you're going to need to sting all around their knees, So
yeah, for some people that may be a million miles away from what they want to do right now.
It's just an example. You absolutely don't have to do that. The great news is if you have arthritis, just drink nettle tea and it'll really help as well,
Most certainly. I'd love for you to touch on, I suppose, with your clients and women's hormones and issues, specific herbs that you often recommend on, I suppose, a regular basis.
Yeah, so let me think about more food type herbs. Like there's one herb that I use all the time called Agnus castus, but it's one you really need to get as a tincture. You get it from the health food shops, and it's amazing. It works in the pituitary gland to balance our hormones from a really basic level, and it's really, really amazing. Amazing herb, but it's not one you'd really be growing, or I mean you can grow it definitely, but it's you have to, there's a whole processing thing which you can learn about in my course if you're interested in kind of going deeper into this. But so Agnus castus is one. It's also known as Vitex. A wonderful Irish herb which I absolutely love for so many different things, but for particularly menstrual complaints, let's say, is a plant called mugwort. And it's another plant that people maybe mightn't be as familiar with it, sadly, I think, as say dandelions or nettles. But it's an amazing herb. It's called an emmenagogue. So it helps to move blood flow in the pelvic region. So it's really great for painful periods, basically for moving that stagnation. But it's also a dream herb. So it gives you really, really vivid dreams, and it helps you sleep and, you know, just process things through your dreams. It's a really sort of witchy, magical plant. It's actually in that the free class I have, the Magical Herbs of Ireland. And yeah, it's a lovely herb. In Irish, it's known as Mungach Meshka, which is kind of like drunk into the bushes, you know, this sort of long-haired inebriation is another translation of it, because it gives you this really nearly psychedelic like dream state, you know. It's amazing. So yeah, it's something to just warn people about, I suppose, is to know that they might have very vivid dreams, but it can be really, really helpful, and it's a lovely plant to work with in a sort of ceremonial way like that as well.
Would you believe mugwort has actually previously been used and diluted in water over a 24-hour period and applied to the likes of the potato leaves to prevent the likes of blight? And I haven't come across it in that similar use. Yeah.
Wow, no way. That is so fascinating. Amazing. Love it.
Yeah, that's class. Is
No.
there any other herbs that I suppose that you often recommend to other clients to, I suppose, women's problems being the high percentage of the people that you currently are looking after?
Yeah, so another one of my favorite herbs is calendula, which are marigolds. And when I was studying herbal medicine, I worked as part of my training on a herb farm in America, and we spent a lot of time picking calendula, and I got the nickname there Shivangela, because I'm just like, I love calendula so much, and they're just like this like ray of sunshine coming out of the earth. They're just these are the calendula leaves there in the background. But yeah, they grow everywhere. They're so easy to grow. If you can get your hands on calendula seeds, they're like these like really cute little dragons. They're amazing. And they yeah, they're just a gorgeous one, and you can grow them very easily in a pot in your kitchen window, you know. But they are completely edible, and they do so many things. They're really supportive of the lymphatic system. They are a brilliant herb for the skin as well. But in terms of menstrual complaints, then they're really good for that emmenagogue action again of moving stagnation and helping with PMS and period pain. So another gorgeous one. But there's an old herb book that I came across. I can't remember what one it is, but it really stuck with me. And it said in some sort of old English words that I'm not going to remember off the top of my head properly, but it's something like, you know, you just have to looketh upon the calendula flowers and your mood is brightened, and your improve your eyesight and all this stuff. So just looking at them helps. So
Is the point that improves your skin, is that due to the likes of the antioxidants, maybe beta carotene, or is there any specific reason why, you know, orange colored foods can and do have that effect on the skin?
yeah, definitely. That's definitely part of it, really high in flavonoids. And its kind of main mode of action, calendula, is through the lymphatic system. So it's helping to clear things. Often people will find that like the first little while, like week or two that they're taking calendula, they might break out in some spots or a rash or something, but it's clearing things from the inside out. So anything that's getting stuck in the lymphatic system, you know, we need to move to get our lymphatic system moving, of course, but herbs can help that movement be a little bit, help to kind of get through some of those blocks and help that movement to be a little bit more efficient, I guess. And then that helps things to come out through the skin because of the support on the lymphatic system. But it's also a wonderful healing herb for the skin topically. So you can just pick it and put it on, you know, a cut or something, and it'll help with wound healing. So it does have this wound healing mechanism. It's interesting with plants, like it's really hard to say what the exact mode of action is, because there hasn't been enough research into it. There isn't huge profits to be made from herbal remedies. So there isn't a huge amount of research going on to figure out how they work. There's a lot more than people realize. If you look on PubMed or places like that where you can search for research online, there is a lot of research. But it's more about clinical trials, like does this work or not? Because figuring out the mode of action is tricky. What happens when we, you know, take plants and we bring them into pharmaceuticals is we're isolating like 80%, depending on who you talk to, but around 80% of pharmaceuticals are originally from plants. What they do is they will take a phytochemical from a plant, isolate it, and then patent it and synthesize it. So that's when all the side effects of pharmaceuticals come, is when you take these individual phytochemicals and isolate them, all of its kind of other phytochemicals aren't there to support it, you know? So a really great example, bringing it back to dandelion, is dandelion has this diuretic property, right, as I mentioned. So it's really great for the kidneys, but it does make you wee more. You know, they've got the name wet the bed. You know, that's where the name comes from. They're diuretic, but they're trying to. So okay, I'll talk. I have two different things I want to say. So the first thing is, if you take a pharmaceutical diuretic, you have to take supplements, particularly potassium and various different minerals and vitamins, to help rebalance your body. Because when you're taking a diuretic and you're weeing more, which helps to balance heart issues and things like that, you need to re-supplement with minerals and vitamins. However, dandelions are diuretic, but they're also really high in potassium and other minerals and vitamins, and particularly potassium, which is the main one that you need to substitute when you're taking diuretics. Like, it's crazy. It's like this plant has been designed to help us without giving any side effects, you know.
Nature provides it in a perfect balance for us at the specific time when we need it, and
Exactly.
that's the nature of the beast, or the beauty of the nature of the beast. Eat real foods.
Yeah, exactly 100%. That's it. And so when it comes to herbal remedies, like, it's great, you can get them as tinctures and things like that. These are whole plant extracts, but if you can get them in as foods, even better. A lot of people often ask me about essential oils. Like, essential oils are basically an extract of a herbal medicine, and they can be harmful, particularly if they're ever ingested, which should never be done. But even putting it directly on your skin, you know, people think because they're found in a health food shop that they're, you know, all natural and don't have any side effects. But because they're isolated, you do often get side effects like skin issues, and you can get burned from essential oils, and ingesting them is a really bad idea. It can really kind of just destroy the mucosa of the intestines and the whole gastrointestinal tract. So as much as possible, we can move towards that whole extract, the better, you know, which is exactly what you say, eat whole foods.
I'd love you to even touch on the likes of maybe comfrey. It's certainly one of those things that, again, can be used for growing and has so many different micronutrients. But yet, expand on the point of comfrey, because it can be used topically, as well as the benefits of it being used in tinctures and other methods.
Yeah, comfrey is a tricky one because it's kind of gotten a little bit of bad rep for having these things called pyrrolizidine alkaloids, which, again, when isolated, have a negative effect on the liver. So when you're taking look, I do take comfrey internally. I do give it to some of my clients internally, occasionally as a tincture, say for things like, so comfrey is also known as knit bone. It's really great for if you break a bone or for sprains and those sort of physical things of the musculoskeletal system. But for the most case, I wouldn't recommend using it internally. You know, just in case, I always recommend going for the safest, gentlest option. But topically, comfrey is incredible and highly recommended. And again, you know, it grows so easily. So it's accessible in that sense as a whole plant. But what you can do is you can make it into a poultice. So you can just, you know, chop up the leaves and just, you know, mulch them up in your hands even, or whatever you want. If you have pestle and mortar, and you can get really, you know, pretend you're a herbalist with your pestle and mortar, you know, make it into a little paste like that, and you can just put it on, you know, if you have a fall, if you've got any kind of sprain or swelling, or on a bad break even, you know, and it can be really, really helpful. Obviously then, you know, things like breaks, you go to the doctor and you get a cast put on it, but it can be really, really helpful remedy topically anyway.
Amazing. Right, I know you, Siobhan, you do currently do a 6-week, I think, I'm going to say, course. If you want to further expand on that with the what you currently do.
So the 6-week course covers a whole variety of different topics, one every week, and then there's a live call at the end for answering any questions, and we just dive in more deeply into these different plants. So that I should actually count how many plants we look at in it, because that'd be interesting to know, but a lot. And yeah, looking at the immune system and herbs to help you just stay well and healthy all year long, and the digestive system as well, because as you say, like, the gut health is just the basis of everything, really, you know. So a lot about gut health and the nervous system too, because we're just so fried these days. So knowing that there are herbs that can help to soothe and calm the nervous system, I think, is really helpful as well. Like, something that people would be familiar with is like chamomile, say, or lavender, things that grow quite easily. Rose is another gorgeous one, great for the nervous system, but also great for the menstrual system, and lots of different things. So yeah, it's a great course. I highly recommend it.
And who would you recommend, I suppose, that course typically to?
So it's for anybody who, you know, has an interest in healing themselves and taking back control of their health. I'm really passionate about this idea of health freedom and health empowerment, because we so easily give our power away to corporations, to doctors. You know, they don't know everything, and sometimes it's really helpful, of course, but a lot of the time there are things we can do to help ourselves. And whether that's, you know, like what you do, recommending lots of whole foods and exercising as all these wonderful preventative measures to really make us thrive and be healthy. But it's also then great to know some of these herbal remedies that we can use as, you know, a first port of call before needing to go down a more invasive route. So what I would love to see is a world where, you know, the food and our lifestyle and, you know, our sleep and everything, that's the basis, and then we use herbal remedies when we need to help us get better and to help support that health, and then when we need to, we can go to the doctor, you know. So that would be ideal. So that's why I do what I do. I want to spread this plant magic, as I call it, just to want to spread it further. So I think the course is for anybody who wants to be able to support their own health and the health of their family, just a little bit more naturally.
I just already, do you know what I mean? I hope the listeners and the viewers most certainly will agree with me. The point is, you're super passionate about this topic, which is brilliant.
Yes, I am. And I know you're the same. So it's great to be able to share this stuff with people, isn't it? You know, I have also started. It's not a podcast yet, but I just started a show on Instagram Live where every Monday I'm going live at 1 o'clock to just share more of this sort of stuff. So I talk about different things. Like last week we talked about foraging, and yeah, this is, you know, lots of different ways. If you don't want to sign up for a 6-week course, there's free courses, there's Instagram, there's loads of things. I have a weekly mailing list where I email people with herbal tips, and yeah, whatever way I can to get this information out there. So I appreciate you having me on so I can do that.
No, you're a mind of information. I suppose before we even, I'm just conscious of your own time, you let the listeners know exactly where they can most certainly either sign up for your course and or just get in contact with you on the social media platforms. Name them out there.
Perfect. Yeah. So Nerdy Naturopath is my name online, and my website is nerdynaturopath.com. So on my website, you can find all about booking different consultations with me. I do one-on-one consultations, mostly over Zoom now, although I do have a clinic room here in my house in East Clare, for anyone that might be local, but otherwise online works actually really well. So you can learn all about that on my website, and yeah, find me on social media, Nerdy Naturopath, and I'll answer all my messages there, so you can get in touch with me there or email me. It's hello@nerdynaturopath.com. So, you know, it's the same everywhere, but you can find me that way. And yeah, I'll give you a link maybe that you can share with people to sign up for the free course and to sign up for the 6-week course as well.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely brilliant. And I'll be putting all those in the likes of the show notes as well, so people literally can go down, click, and go straight over to your page. Right.
Beautiful.
Siobhan, I always end the likes of these podcasts by saying, stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.